you set a certain narrative through the campaign to bastardize your opponent, to make claims, and the point that we do not want to take responsibility for anything. Seriously? Is that the sense that you get? His Excellency the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was bold to speak to the issues about the challenges that the economy faced. It was not important for us to set that difficulty in context and to let the people of Ghana appreciate the difficulty and why it is that we all had to, as the finance minister then put in a certain phrase, burden share so that we can resolve the issues as a collective. It wasn't important. It does not in any way take away the fact that Akufo-Addo's government was responsible for the economy that we encountered between 2022 and 2024. But thankfully, because of the proactive measures that the government took, we began to see signs of recovery. That's a matter of fact. And the data that the Ghana Statistical Service has put out post the State of the Nation address that the president delivered is quite clear. And Ato himself, when he was delivering the budget, had some difficulty in admitting to those macro indicators improving. That does not mean that we are out of the woods. And so it's important that we situate the issues in their proper context. But if you come to read a budget which has sought to realign, if you like, because this uncapping, for me, is neither here nor there. Because all the revenue sources of this country go into a certain account called the Consolidated Fund. Of course, in the past, we have segregated Get Fund and NHIS and applied a certain levy that then goes into those separate funds to fund infrastructure and fund the national health insurance. When the Akufo-Addo government came, I recall one of the profound statements that Haruna Drusu made on the floor of Parliament. Where is the fiscal space? How are you going to fund all the initiatives that you had outlined in your manifesto? The reason why Ken Ofori-Atta then introduced the capping and realignment legislation to say that, okay, get fund resources. Rather than giving you all the 100%, we're going to cap it up to, I believe, 66% or so that 33% can go into the consolidated fund to fund all other expenditures of state, including free SHS. So if you come and you say that you are going to undo the capping and send all the 100% to Get Fund and go ahead to amend the Get Fund Act to make them able to fund free SHS, as far as I'm concerned, you've done nothing new. It does not require anybody to stand and clap for you. If you say that you are going to uncap the NHIS, it still was fund that is going to the consolidated fund. And I hear them talk about dedicated fund. What does that even mean? You have a budget that gives you a certain expenditure expectation or expenditure program and a revenue that is supposed to go into the consolidated fund, out of which you are supposed to fund every single budget line item in your expenditure. So what is the meaning of dedicated funds? But they use such words to confuse people. It's meaningless because it's all GOG funds, which is disbursed out of the consolidated fund. So if you segregate or ring-fence a certain program that, okay, I'm taking this levy to fund this program solely, what have you really done? Because otherwise, it will go into the consolidated fund for you to use it to fund your budget line expenditure. That's all. And you hear them say that, tax refund account. They've done some creative, he used Alfred Abusi, they like it, financial engineering. They've done some financial engineering. You've done nothing. Government said that, look, every year, our law allows us to refund taxes to people who have overpaid, including personal income taxes. Moro, you know that if we file our taxes properly, we have some reliefs that we're supposed to get for our children, our parents, and all of that. But because we don't file it properly, we do not even go for those tax refunds. In America and in other advanced jurisdictions, people receive checks from the taxman every year because they file their taxes properly. And so, as a rule, we set aside 6% of all tax revenue to ensure that if people come for refunds, we are able to meet those refunds with that money. You say that you've done a trend analysis, and so you've done a trend analysis, and you realize that only 43% or so, or 45% or so of that 6% is usually expended for tax refunds. Why? The rest wouldn't go into the consolidated fund for you to expend anyway. And so if you're going to reduce that so that you don't have to set aside all the 100% of that 6%, and that you're going to reduce it to 2% or 4%, what have you done? Because the differential is going into the consolidated fund for you to spend anyway. So what have you done? That my good friend Dr. Ato Forson will come and stand in Parliament for my brother here to come and make it look as if they've created something out of the ordinary. They have done nothing. Nothing. And you see, they say the devil is in the detail. All the allocations that they make, that they tout, we've done this, we have allocated this, we've done this, we've done this. You promised $10 billion big push over a 4-year period. Why? Is it not safe to assume that you do 2.5 million per year or billion per year? So that you can achieve the 10 billion target in infrastructure. And so, all I'm saying is this, that the devil is in the detail.
Yes.
They list all sorts of allocations. Meanwhile, we operate a certain framework, medium-term framework, where the 2024, 25, 26, 27 budgets are approved. Yes, in a particular year, there may be variations. That is why you come with the year's budget and also the medium-term 26, 7, 8, and 9. If you look at the allocations relative to the kinds of things that they said, especially MDA and expenditure allocations, you marvel at the quantum leap in Office of Government Machinery allocation that they've made in 2025 going forward. Indeed, and in fact, in the medium term, 2024 to 2028, the projection was that Office of Government Machinery, that's the Office of the President, was going to be allocated $2 billion in 2024. It was. Wages, compensation of employees was 326. Goods and services 924. Capex 612. Okay. IGF 153. Development funds 57. Of course, the subtotal of the IGF and development funds is of the entire line is 2.74. In 2025, it was projected that will go up to 2.49. No, the first one was 2.074. In 2025, it was projected to go up to 2.249. In 2026, projected to go up to 2.566. In 2027, to go up to 3.113. Guess what? Mr. Mahama's government, year one, it has moved from the projected 2.4249 to 4.124. 2026, 5.3 389. 2027, 6.427. 2028, 7.412. These are the people who accused the Akufo-Addo government of running an elephant-sized government. Let's even cut out the capex and goods and services and come to compensation alone. In 2024, the office of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was allocated 326,907,874. Mr. Mahama's office, 2,711,100,839. The percentage increase is more than 500%. Yet they say they can't build agenda 111. They can't build agenda 111. The projects, the capital projects, 55 or so of them that they listed, that they say will take 12 years. They can't use this money to fund. If they were even considerate in working on some increase in the medium-term framework approval that Parliament had provided, assuming that they had even gone up by even 50 or 100%, 500 plus, and the agencies they're under during President Akufo-Addo's time and today, it's mind-boggling. These are the people. So if Abu Jinapo says on the floor of Parliament that the promise to run a lean government of appointing 60 ministers, as if to say that ministers constitute government and that only impacts the public purse, our friends who said they were going to do better are recruiting people who are earning the same emoluments, who are enjoying the same conditions of service as ministers and ministers of state. They've appointed 16 presidential advisors, staffers, across all the 16 regions. Yet they told you that they're going to appoint regional ministers and not appoint deputy regional ministers. Presidential staffers, what are they doing in the regions? Is it not the regional minister who is supposed to represent the president in the regions? So they've used the back door, unbeknown to the good people of this country, to appoint people who are essentially milking, to use their words, the public purse. So Ghanaians, that is the government that you voted for. But I hope that the minority, the mighty minority, will hold them to account and ensure that this expenditure, particularly the line that is going to the office of government machinery, is not approved.